Welcome everybody to the third voting town hall workshop. I will be the co-host today with Imani Williams.
Hi everyone, I'm Imani. Today we decided to give the coaches and the staff a break, and so the athletes are going to run this town hall for you guys. And so as Drew just said, we're at the last phase of our voting meetings. Like we spoke about how the importance of voting and also just the history behind it. And so today we're going to go more into depth about that because election day is 12 days away. And so we also wanted to highlight how everyone needs to finalize their voting plan.
Absolutely. And for today's workshop, we will be discussing exactly that. And in addition to providing all of you with information regarding Props 16, 17, 20, and 25, then finally, we'd be more than happy to take as many questions as we can at the end.
Yeah, and like we've been mentioning, like these past 3 meetings, and voting right now is super important. For a century, people have been trying to keep minorities from voting. And so we just want to reiterate how they're trying to keep us, just shows how important it is for us to actually go and use that right. So everyone, use your voice and go vote.
And with that being said, I think we're ready to get started with our first segment, which is making a voting plan with women's soccer. Are we,
Oh, I was muted. Oh.
I'll have the video coming up pretty shortly here.
I'll repeat what I said because I was muted. That's super embarrassing. But I was just mentioning before how important it is for us to vote because like the past 3 months, we've been talking about how people have been keeping us from voting consecutively. So all we want to do is just show that we're able to get out there and use our voice. So, and this is also what that means going to speak about, as Drew mentioned, we'll be talking about the propositions. So, yeah.
Yeah, we can also talk about some of the, and we have
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, but waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a face of somebody who needs you. You're lost out there and you're all alone. A light is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look.
all right, thank you, women's soccer. So like I said, go out and vote. Some important dates to be aware of is one of the dates is October 27th is the last date that's recommended to turn in your mail-in ballot. So if you are sending in your mail-in ballots, please do so by October 27th so you know you have your vote counted. You are able to mail it in by election day, but it is highly recommended you mail it in by October 27th.
And next up, we have a great explanation on Prop 16 from Nia from Women's Track and Field.
What's up, Broncos? It's Nia Vance from Women's Track and Field, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Proposition 16. Prop 16 reappeals Prop 209 that was set in place in 1996. Prop 16 prohibits preferential treatment on the basis of race, ethnicity, or sex, meaning it basically ended affirmative action in places like public employment, university admissions, and contracting. Prop 16, if passed, would reinstate preferential treatment for those groups. Supporters believe that Prop 16 would be fair since white wealthy individuals already have an unfair advantage over minorities. But the opponents believe that Prop 16 will bring back racial quotas and that race and sex shouldn't even play a role when it comes to employment and education opportunities. Yet, supporters still believe that it's necessary to balance the disadvantages that people of color and other groups experience. So, let's conclude. A yes vote repeals Prop 209 to allow affirmative action, and a no vote, it keeps it in place.
Thank you, Nia. That was a great summary.
Next up, we have Prop 17, which is being presented by Ruki and Will.
Proposition 17 is a proposition that seeks to restore voting rights upon completion of prison terms to persons who have been disqualified from voting while serving prison terms. A yes on Prop 17 would mean allowing people on state parole who are U.S. citizens, California residents, and at least 18 years of age to vote if they choose to register. A pro of this is that it restores the rights of thousands of California residents to vote after finishing their prison sentences. This would align California with other states. Another pro is that a recent study by the Parole Commission has shown that prisoners who have their voting rights restored are less likely to commit future crimes.
Prop 17's fiscal impact. Annual county costs likely in the hundreds of thousands of dollars statewide for voter registration and ballot materials. One-time state costs likely in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for voter registration cards and systems. A no vote on this measure means people on state parole would continue to be unable to vote in California. If you vote no on Proposition 17, it amends California's Constitution to grant violent criminals the right to vote before completing their sentence, including parole. It allows criminals convicted of murder, rape, and child molestation to vote before paying their debt to society. It denies justice to the crime victims.
Thank you, Ruki and Will.
Okay, and then next up we have a video from Aya on women's basketball and then Nia again on women's track.
Nia Vance from women's track and field, and I'm here to talk about the pros of Prop 20. Prop 20 is described to make changes to policies related to criminal sentencing charges, prison releases, and DNA collection. Now for the pros. Supporters say Prop 20 will reclassify certain crimes like assault with a deadly weapon, date rape, and child abuse. They also say but that it would ensure that people convicted of these crimes serve their full sentences. Lastly, Prop 20 will help stop car break-ins, shoplifting, and other theft that has been on the rise.
Hi, my name is Aya Lee from women's basketball, and I'm here to talk to you about the cons of Proposition 20. Prop 20 would cause a rollback on prison reform and cause taxpayers to pay millions of dollars annually, which opponents believe could be better spent elsewhere. Proposition 20 would result in extreme sentences for petty theft and a disproportionate impact on minority groups, especially Black and Latino communities. A vote yes on Prop 20 means supporting the changes that would toughen up California's criminal laws. A vote no on Prop 20 means rejecting these changes and keeping California's criminal laws the way they are.
Thank you, Nia and Aya. That was a great TikTok explaining Prop 20.
And next up, we have Bryson and Megan, who are going to be discussing Proposition 24, which is the referendum on law that replaced money bail with a system based on public safety and flight risk.
Hello, everyone. We're here to talk about Proposition 25 and what does your vote mean? I'm Bryson Stevens on the men's basketball team.
Hey guys, I'm Megan Chadrick on the women's track and field team.
So voting yes on Prop 25 eliminates the current bail system used by courts. No one would pay bail to be released from jail before trial. People would either be released automatically or not appearing in courts if released. And lastly, no one would be charged fees as a condition of release.
So overall, voting no keeps the currently used bail system. So some people would continue to pay bail to be released from jail before trial. Other people would continue to be released without paying bail, and fees may continue to be charged as a condition of release.
So 3 people that are in favor: the President of Californians for Safety and Justice, the county district attorney, and the president of Mental Health America in California. They argued that current money bail is unfair and unsafe, typically favors the rich and the white. Current bail is costly, and current systems cost taxpayers. And lastly, Prop 25 ends an unjust system that profiteers off working people.
So some people who are against it include the president of California State Conference of the NAACP, executive director of Crime Victims Alliance, and a retired California Superior Court judge. They argue that Prop 25 imposes a computer-based system that will make important criminal justice decisions, that Prop 25 is even more discriminatory against the poor and people of color, and that it will endanger public safety.
Thank you, Bryson and Megan. Appreciate it. I know that was sort of quick. We are open for questions. If you can send them in the chat, we'll be sure to try and answer as many questions as we can. I believe we also have a survey that we would love to be filled out. We are trying to make this as best as it can be.
Yep, and thank you again for all the athletes that made those videos. I know props can be super confusing. They're confusing for me. So listening to all your summaries was really helpful. And I hope everyone else found them helpful too.
So in the chat, there is now a survey link. Please go ahead and click that and fill it out. We appreciate any and all input. And like I said, if you have any questions, please be sure to ask away.
And also just to reiterate how important these propositions are, we are the Racial Equity Committee, so we wanted to focus on propositions that go towards that, such as Prop 16 when Nia explained it, it also affects us being as college students. I know that, some of us want to have those like scholarships per se, or opportunities for us because we are minorities, or if you're a woman, anything like that. So all of these props do affect us in our day-to-day lives. And we just wanted to explain that to everyone. And no matter which way you vote, this isn't what that's about. We're not trying to sway you any sort of way. We just want to give you the information so you have enough to make a vote on whatever choice that you'd like to make. And then also, because this is the end of our 3-phase voting campaign, we are going to go towards kind of shift gears and go towards things that are facing more of a racial equity in this country, such as how to be like a activist. It can be kind of confusing. You don't know your rights or what you're able to do and not do. We're also going to be speaking about scholarships on campus, everything like that. And so we do want your feedback in that survey that Clarissa just put in the chat. Put anything that you'd like to speak about also, because again, these meetings are meant for us. And so we want to know everything that you guys would like to know too.
Yes, thank you, Imani. We do have one question in the chat from Joseph Blue that he asked, what would change if 16 is passed in regards to scholarships on campus? Now, from what I have read regarding Proposition 16, a lot of what is being changed is that it allows more opportunities for policies and programs intended for the representation of people who have faced inequalities. I've also been told that it's not supposed to instill any quotas. Quotas are still illegal under federal law. So there will be no quotas, and there is still laws that are against federal discrimination. But in regards to scholarships on campus, I'm not exactly sure the exact details as to how it will be directly affected.
There's another question. Could I donate money to a specific group of people for scholarships? I'm not sure of that answer, but if anyone does know the answer, they're welcome to jump in. Okay.
Jenny, is that something that you wanted to talk about? I don't think that has anything to do with this prop, but I think this would be something completely separate of this proposition.
Yeah, I think that would be separate. Good job, guys. Appreciate you guys jumping in there and giving us a little different look on, as we finish this up about voting. As Imani and Drew touched on, this was the third part of a three-part voting thing. We stretched this thing out because I hope you guys understand voting is can be complicated, especially for a first-timer. This year is even amped up more due to our current culture climate. So we felt it was really important to teach you guys how to vote, what voting means, why you should vote. On a personal level, I was really invested in the voting aspect because there's too much told to the public right now that it's a waste of time to vote and that your vote doesn't count. And it was important that we relearn and reteach you guys the aspects of voting and what that means and why it's important to you and why it matters to you, why it matters to you in the future, why it matters to you today. So I hope you guys got at least a little bit of an education on that. I hope it piqued a few of you guys and got you interested beyond just somebody screaming racism or you not liking the current president, because these things will change and you'll be voting again for some of the same stuff and for different stuff, for some of the same reasons and for different reasons. So you got to know your why. You got to have a plan of attack. You have to be able to explain it, at least to yourself and your family, why you are voting, why you're voting, and then why you're voting a certain way. If you have any questions, suggestions.
Aaron may have a question, Darrell. In the chat.
Oh, yeah, it's just in the chat, coaches.
How long it take for each proposition, Aaron asked, how long will it take for propositions to take effect? Every proposition has is dated. Don't give me the line. I'm pretty sure, well, I know they're dated and you just have to look into the propositions to know what year they go into effect because they vary. Like Prop 16, which is, it was presented initially as the anti-209 proposition, which ended affirmative action programs. But we just found out, I learned last week, that it's only addressing a part of Proposition 209, which would allow entities in the state of California to consider different characteristics in terms of their criteria. Right now, we can't consider anything in terms of race, gender, sex, or anything of the like. And that's what 209 puts to bed, and they're trying to make it to where we can. For example, on that, and this was really, really, okay, Jenny, I'll come back to you in 2 seconds. It was really important. I thought this brought a lot of clarity to it. I happen to know in Florida, they have a Hispanic scholarship available. And we don't, and we can't. It's against California law. And that's kind of what Proposition 16 is trying to address in theory. Jenny says she can answer the scholarship question. Go ahead, Jenny.
So sorry for my delay earlier. I'm Jenny Heimstead. I'm the Assistant Athletic Director for Compliance and Internal Relations. And I do know a little bit about financial aid and scholarships just based on my communication with the financial aid office dealing with athletic scholarships. So in order to answer that question, I'm going to do two things. First, I'm going to talk about athletic scholarships because NCAA is what I know best. So with athletic scholarships, yes, it would be permissible to donate money to a specific group. So for example, we have plenty of donors that donate to the men's basketball program or the women's volleyball program. As long as it's not earmarked for a specific student athlete, it is permissible to donate to any program that you want. As far as the general campus and donating money to a specific group on campus, that also is permissible. So if you have Generally, what donors can do is they can restrict who gets the scholarship that they're donating money to. It could be based on anything that's not earmarked for a specific student athlete. So we wouldn't be able to say that we want to give money to Drew Atherton and give him a scholarship for what he does. We would need, if we wanted to give it to Drew, we could certainly make the criteria close enough to that Drew would be the only one to be able to accept that award. But for the most part, what we do is when we donate, we can say that we would donate to the baseball program. And that individual would have to be an agricultural minor. They'd have to have a 3.0 GPA. So you see how it kind of just limits the number of students that would be able to receive that award.
Jenny? Jenny, so I was gonna ask, so the reason why I asked the question, just to get it out there so the athletes understand. So what I heard is currently, like, if someone's donating to the school, they can't donate to the school because of affirmative action. They can't donate to the school specifically for a certain race. So if I wanted to give a scholarship I'm gonna make this scholarship for only Black kids, right? Or only Hispanic kids. This is why I'm donating my money to help Hispanic kids get into school and pay for the school. Currently, I wouldn't be able to do that. But if you vote no, that continues, right? But if somebody voted yes, that would change that to where now they can make specific opportunities for specific people. That's what I was I kind of understood it, but I wanted to get it out so people understood it.
Unless I'm misunderstanding, I don't read this prop as, I don't think this proposition has anything to do with that. Am I mistaken? I know Drew talked about it. Darrell?
I'm pretty sure that you can donate to certain groups as long as you're not earmarking for a specific student athlete, and that you're also not part of the committee that decides who is receiving that award, is really my only understanding of the donor scholarships. You might know a little bit more than I do about that, Coach Blue, but as far as I'm understanding, you can create a scholarship that, as long as it's not earmarking for a specific student, that you'd be able to give it to whoever you wanted. Any group you wanted. Any criteria, rather, that you wanted.
Good. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jenny, Stephanie, and Blue for chiming in, helping to explain that. I hope that clarified a little bit on how propositions can directly affect us in certain ways that we don't think about. Any more questions, anybody? About voting, your voting plan, any propositions? Candidates? Now, we can't tell you who to vote for. We can try to answer questions. We're not here to tell you who to vote for, which way to vote for. That's not our goal. We did try to address some things that do coincide with our topic, being racial equity. But beyond that, we are not trying to influence you either way. We just tried to give you guys some information that hopefully helps you clarify your thoughts on how you want to vote. Speaking of voting, as we close this out, you guys have choices. You can vote by mail. You can also drop your ballots off on voting day, and you can go to the polls and just vote like you traditionally do. I know some people enjoy that, and I know a few people in my life that's what they're going to do regardless of the mail-in ballots that they got. Me, I'm about to drop my ballot off probably tomorrow. I just got a couple more things I want to clarify. I think it's important too to understand that when you do open your ballot and you vote, it's kind of like the SAT. If you don't know it, don't answer it. It's okay. Vote for what you want to vote for. It's always good to be up on everything, but you'll see when you get your ballots, if you haven't got it yet, there's a lot of stuff you just like, who, what, where. I think we vote on like 5 different members of the JC, the state JC board. Try looking that up. There's like 8 candidates each seat. So it's a lot. So take your time, vote on what you know. This is for adults and kids alike, and then just stay aware, stay educated. As they like to say, stay woke. But other than that, I really appreciate everybody coming today. Student athletes, all of you, I appreciate your time and effort. We'll do this again. We'll do some other topics moving on. Our next topic next month, which would be November. I think it's November 17th. So it's before Thanksgiving. And November's always a rush because we lose a whole week out of the month. And then it's December 17th, and then it's November sometime before Thanksgiving. I have to go look. But we'll get that out to you guys. Thank you guys for coming as always. If you have no further questions, we turn you back to your other day ending and why. Everybody stay on your midterms. Hopefully everybody got their paperwork done and turned in. And we'll just keep pushing forward. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. Good afternoon.